Now we come to the next canto, canto 4, the kingdoms of the little life. Then we got the beings of the little life. And then it goes on. See, this is a long canto. The other one is also a long canto, both of them. Kingdoms and beings of little life. And then you have got kingdoms and beings of greater life, etc., etc. It goes on like that, you see. Now this canto has 163 sentences in all, you see. 163 sentences. In all, there are in all six sections. This canto has 6 sections and 163 sentences. Number of lines is 671. Total number of lines is 671. And the total number of words, 5,114. The total number of words in this canto, 5,114. It's a long canto, 671 lines. 5,000 words, you see. It's a long canto that we see. 6 sections, you see. Section 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. These are the 6 sections, you see. With varying length, you see, with varying length. The longest section is section 40, with 149 lines, you see. So I think we'll make a beginning. Shall we make the beginning? Okay. A quivering, trepidant, uncertain world, born from the dolorous meeting and eclipse. Dolorous meeting and eclipse. Meeting, life's entry into matter, that's the meeting. Eclipse of life's fall. What happened of that? Uncertain world, trepidant, which is full of fear, this life. See, life has entered into matter. Now we have to understand one important thing. When life enters into matter, it is the life which is buried in matter which starts awaking. It is that life which starts springing up. Life has entered its conscious seed, and life which is present already in the unconscious void, it is that life which starts coming into play here, getting woken up, you see. Until now it was asleep all the while, but that entry of life has woken up the life which is buried in the unconscious void. That's the basic. And therefore there is a quivering of that life which is coming up from below. Yes, what happened? Will I survive? Will I live at all? A trepidant, uncertain world, born from the dolorous meeting and eclipse of life which has come down here, that great winged angel who has come, wonderful angel, wayfarer who had come here, meeting and eclipse, appeared in the emptiness where her feet had trod, her, the life who has come from the world of bliss, had trod. A quick obscurity, a seeking stir, a quick obscurity. She has become obscure now here. Seeking stir, the life which is springing from below now, that from matter's womb, that life which is coming up, that is the seeking stir of life which is buried in the depths of unconsciousness. There was a writhing of half-conscious force. Naturally, that life which is coming up here is kind of writhing, quivering, moving like that, like a worm, insect, which moves, let's say, uncertain. The life which is springing up here is writhing of half-conscious force, hardly awakened from inconscient sleep. Yeah, life has just touched, therefore this life which is coming up here is hardly awake now here from her inconscient sleep, which is lying there all along, you see. Hardly awakened from inconscient sleep and tied to an instinct-driven ignorance. She was tied to the instinct-driven ignorance. Obviously, she is coming from that, you see, to find itself and find its hold on thing. Itself, that life which is coming up here, that unconscious, that half-conscious force, you can say this, tied to an instinct, driven dictum, inheritor of poverty and loss. Yeah, that life is coming up here, assailed by memories that fled when seized, assailed, inheritor of poverty and loss, assailed by memories that life is entering from above. She is assailed by memories. Yes, I come from a world of bliss. I come from a wonderful world here that fled when she, that you are trying to catch, but does not remain in hand at all. Haunted by a forgotten, uplifting hope. Forgotten. Yes, she was carrying that hope, but she has forgotten that hope. Is struck with the blindness as of groping hand to fill the aching and disastrous gap between earth pain and the bliss from which life fell. Earth pain and rising. It is that life is springing up now from here. It is that description. Between earth pain and the bliss from which life, between earth pain and the bliss from which life fell. A world that ever seeks for something missed. A world that ever seeks for something missed. See, the unconscious void is waking up, and it is something constant here. Now life is waking up and seeking something, hunting for a joy that earth has failed to give. Hunting for a joy that earth has failed to give. Earth has failed to give. Joy earth has failed to give. How? That great angel is coming from the world of bliss. She is coming from the home of bliss. She brought joy, but then earth was not able to keep that joy of hers. When the angel, when that life is entering, she is coming from a world of bliss, entering into matter. She is of course coming with all that thing, but earth is not in a position to hold the joy which is with her. Earth has failed because she was born in inconscience. She was born in inconscience. So earth has failed to hold the joy life is bringing in that sense. Earth has failed to keep hunting for a joy. This life which is coming up, springing from here, is hunting for a joy. Too near to our gaze is unappeased unrest, for peace to live on the inert solid globe. It has joined its hunger to the hunger of earth. That life which is springing up now from here, it has joined its hunger to the hunger of earth. What is the hunger of earth? So that the powers of the spirit enter into earth. So that life which is springing up is joined the urge, the hunger, the thirst of earth. It has given the law of craving to our lives. It has made our spirits need a fathomless gulf. An influence entered mortal night and day. An influence entered mortal night and day. What is that influence? That life which is coming from the world of bliss. This influence, she is coming and working out here. Therefore, she is an influence here now. She is bringing out certain changes here. She is doing something here. And it is that life now who is working here is an influence. An influence entered mortal night and day. That wonderful wayfarer, you see, wide-winged, wonderful wayfarer, she has entered the mortal day. A shadow overcast the time-born rays. So two things have happened. The influence has entered into the mortal life here. A shadow has sprung up from below, time-born rays. An influence entered mortal night and life was stunned. Life met an ambiguous presence. A shadow overcast the time-born rays. And the troubled stream where leaves a blind heart pulse, and an orbit of feeling with incense, dividing matter sleep from conscious mind. There strayed a call that knew not why it came, why that influence has come. It is not able to know for what purpose is it. Why it came. There strayed a call. Strayed. He didn't intend. It happened. By chance to say. A call that knew not why it came. That influence. That influences him. A power beyond earth's scope has touched the earth. Now the influence, he is now describing in the form of power. Influence has done something, the power is working out. Touched the earth's scope has touched the earth. Yes, it has come in the material object. A power beyond earth's scope, obviously, with the arrival of life. The repose that might have been can be no more. The repose that might have been for this life, it was lying there, but now that repose is not there anymore at all, you see. A formless yearning passion in man's heart. So there is a kind of stirring now, there is a struggle, there is a push, there is a drive. A formless yearning passion in man's heart. A cry is in his blood for happier things. Man, his stands for man here. A cry is in his blood for happier things with the entry of life, you see. That is the power. Else could he roam on a free sunlit soil. Had it not been there, he would have simply roamed on a free sunlit soil with the childlike, pain-forgetting mind of beast. He would have remained a beast only, you see, all along, like a child. Or live happy, unmoved, like flowers and trees. So that power has done something for man. A formless yearning passions in man's heart. Otherwise, he would have remained an animal, a flower, or a tree like that, you see, all along, you see. But that influence, that power has done something. Then comes might. First he describes influence, then he describes power. Now, might, the might that came upon the earth to bless. See, they are all equivalent. The influence in a certain role, the power in a certain role, might in a certain role. They are all equivalent to life, who is entering into matter. The might that came upon the earth to bless has stayed on earth to suffer and aspire. That is important. Suffer, all right, because she is going to work in the field of inconscience and aspire. She has brought that fire with her. That aspiration is there with the love. And the infant love that rang through time is hushed. Obviously, the power is so opposition, in opposite power, you see. Something has sprung up, something is laughing like a child, you see, but then that is hushed. Man's natural joy of life is overcast. Because there is something that dark ambiguous, that influence here described, no, here. Influence, shadow overcast. That dark ambiguous presence, both of them are there, shadow overcast. The infant's love that rang through time is hushed. Man's natural joy of life is overcome. And sorrow is his nurse of destiny. Nurse of, it is the sorrow which is now nourishing, carrying forward his destiny, you see, sorrow. That is what, in other words, it is life, it is death which is promoting now life. Death is necessary. Same way, the sorrow is his nurse, his man. Nurse of destiny, nursing destiny. The destiny is being shaped by the sorrow of man. The animal's thoughtless joy is left behind. See, already coming to the scene of man, you see. The animal's thoughtless joy is left behind. Care and reflection burden his daily walk of man. He has risen to greatness and to discontent. Greatness and discontent. Yes, there is aspiration, there is a fulfillment also, there is a realization also, but there is discontentment. Discontentment because there is pain, suffering, death, misery that they are in life. He is awake to the invisible. Well, that is the greatness. He is awakened. You see, in fact, in the course of evolution, this is a tremendous step that now something which is springing from below is awakening to the invisible, is getting to the greatness. You see. Insatiate seeker, man is an insatiate. He is not satisfied at all with his seeking. He has all to learn. He has exhausted now life, surface acts, the superficial. Now he wants to go into the depths of life and see what life can offer. His being hidden then remain to explore what is there within him that he wants to understand, he wants to know. The invisible which is there behind, that he would like to see more and more of it, that it becomes visible. He becomes a mind, he becomes a spirit and self. So he is tracing the evolution very rapidly. You see, man has arrived, and now that man is seeking something more than what he is. He becomes a mind, he becomes a spirit and self. In his fragile tenement, he grows nature's lord. Already he becomes a lord of nature, you see. He has some kind of a mastery over nature. He can cross oceans. That is what they did a few centuries ago, great ocean. Now we are crossing the gravitational pull of the earth and getting into free space, you see. His fragile tenement, he grows nature's lord. That is the mastery over nature he has obtained. But still, there are many things which man is not in a position to do. You see, man has understood many things, many things. He has brought us the internet also, and we can be all together here at this moment, which is a great miracle in the process of evolution, something absolutely wonderful. But man is not even understanding even a bit of nature, even a smallest element of nature. He has absolutely no mastery thereover. Yes, you have crossed the outer space and gone, but that is really nothing. That is really, it's not a great thing. You have brought the internet, but that is really nothing, you see, in a way of speaking, you see, in a way of speaking. The simplest example, which I have been giving always, take the water molecule itself. Water molecule. You know water is consisting of hydrogen and oxygen, and then you bring those two elements and you get water and new properties appear. He has not been able to explain how those new properties have arisen in water, which were not present in oxygen and hydrogen. Oxygen and hydrogen have certain properties. You bring oxygen and hydrogen together, you get water, which is a totally different thing, altogether different. It is neither like hydrogen nor like oxygen, whereas it is opposite to them. Where from those new properties have come? Man has not been able to understand that thing at all. Has not been able. That is part of understanding. He is lacking completely. I will go a step further. Is man really nature's lord? He has not understood it all right, but he is not still nature's lord. He grows nature's lord. He is not really nature's lord. In the same example of water molecule, you have got oxygen there, you have got hydrogen here, you have got hydrogen here. You form a triangle like that thing, you see, oxygen, isosceles triangle. Now, the angle between oxygen and hydrogen, this angle is 104.45 degrees. 104.45 degrees. 104.45 degrees. It's like that. It is more than 90 degrees apart from that. Now, man, had he been a lord of nature, he would have been able to manipulate that angle. Why 104.45? Why can't it be 90? Why can't it be 100.9? Why can't it be 100.9? 100.9 is the tetrahedral angle. You see? Why can't it be 100.9? Man is not in a position to change that thing at all. He is really not a Lord. He is accepting that thing, understanding something, but he cannot change, he cannot bring them apart and make that angle more or less. Had he been able to, if he is able to do that, the moment he brings the angle to the tetrahedral angle, 109 degrees instead of 104, then the properties of water will be completely different. They will not be what we are having as water at all. They will be totally different types of water. You see, we are not able to produce new water, new properties of water. You see, new properties of water. And that is exactly what a new scientist should do. How to manipulate nature, how to play with that angle, with the distances and all that thing, and change things. That man is not in a position to do at all, you see, completely. It is beyond his means, you see. So, he becomes a mind, he becomes a spirit and soul. In his fragile tenement, he grows nature's Lord. He is in a fragile tenement, in a house which is really fragile, you see. But when he becomes spirit, when he becomes self, perhaps then he will have power to change that angle, bring it down or up, down. The dipole moment will change, the properties of attraction will change, the dielectric constant of what will change, the pH value of what will change, everything will undergo change completely, you see. The relationship of water molecule is completely different, you see. Now, it is that sort of a new chemistry which a new scientist should look into. If you want to be a new scientist, you play with water, simplest thing which is in your hand, but you are not able to control it all. In his fragile tenement, he grows nature's Lord. He is not a Lord at all. He can't do anything at all. He is helpless. You are describing all those 1,000 things. You are describing those 1,000, but you are not able to manipulate it all with those things. Now, why? Why? Because we have not understood how the molecules get formed. We have understood element, oxygen, hydrogen, etc., etc., but then displacement is, we have not understood it all. What is it that really plays its role in this formation of a particular compound that we have not been able to understand? I will say that that is the property of Agni. You have to understand Agni in a fuller sense to see how these elements, these material things, can be manipulated, can be adjusted. It is Agni who gives form to things which are formless. So, Agni has given a certain form. If you go back to Agni and tell him, please, I want this form, Agni will oblige you. Agni will oblige you, see. We have not been able to worship Agni in that sense at all, you see. We have to approach Agni in a proper way, and then you have new forms, new properties, new qualities. If you want a physical body which is not subject to death, a new body, new cells you have to form. Who is going to produce those new cells? Agni. Agni. It is the work of Agni who will produce a new transformed body, you see. Mother says in one of her talks that it is the psychic being who will materialize. She says it is the psychic being who will materialize as a new body, as a transformed body. It is the psychic being. What is psychic being? The fire, Agni. It is fire, Agni, who will materialize and give a new form. So our science should move in that direction, in the study, in the proper study of Agni, in the proper study of. I think let us open a new laboratory and start the work of Agni.
It's a Vaidyuta Agni.
Huh?
Agni, Vaidyuta.
Agni,
electricity.
it is the form maker, he is the form maker, he is the one who gives form. Mother says it is Agni who will materialize. Psychic being means what? Agni. It is Agni who will materialize. It is he who will give new physical form. The cellular transformation, when Mother is doing in her own occult way, she is actually doing the work of Agni. Invoking Agni to do this, to do that kind of a thing. And she is going to produce new cells, The two arms of water molecule are adjusted. They are put apart or brought here or made closer like that. You see, it is that manipulation which can be done by Agni, and you will see new properties, and they will not be then anymore subject to death. When Agni is doing that thing directly, when Agni materializes like that thing, so it is the play of Agni in the material world which is most important for us, you see. So as a physicist, let us start praying every day, God Agni. God Agni, yeah. It is He who has become the immortal in the mortal. You see, that is a great change he has done, and see the transformation he has brought out with that. Well,